5 actors in search of one character. The constant element of all the movies is the James Bond figure from the novels of Ian Fleming, but first fleshed out by Sean Connery and his director Terence Young in Dr. No.
Well, I think the most important element in the whole Bond series was, apart from Fleming himself, who'd written the original stuff and everything, I think it was Terence Young. I think he was the greatest influence.
Originally, Cary Grant was asked to do it, and he said, yes, I'll do 1, but I won't do 2, I won't do a series. So then they got a hold of James Mason, and I went to see James, and James said he'd do 2, but he wouldn't do 3. So they decided they'd have to go with an unknown, and there were 5 people that were tested, and Sean's was far away the best test. And you see, a lot of it is made of the fact that he'd been a coffin polisher, or he'd been driven a milk cart, that he'd been a chorus boy in South Pacific. None of that mattered a damn. Sean was already a good actor. And he had this wonderful physique, and he had a wonderful presence. All I had to do was to make him look more like James Bond.
Really?
He must have followed us.
I think he got the point.
Sean and I made an awful lot of those gags up while we were going on. I wrote the original script as well. And Sean and I used to try and outdo each other with trying to find something more outrageous than the other. And Sean had a very good sense of humor. And a lot of the one-liners and things like that we cooked up on the set. And some of them we said, no, that's too bloody stupid, you can't use that. But we did, and it was effective.
Perhaps we can have dinner together.
No.
My dear uncooperative Domino.
How do you know that? How do you know my friends call me Domino?
It's on the bracelet on your ankle.
So, what sharp little eyes you've got.
Wait till you get to my teeth.
He took me on the trip to get our clothes and everything, and it was an eye-opener. The budget on the clothes was astronomical in relation to the film, but he was right, Terence, because there was a look about it. We had shoes handmade at Lobs, and no cufflinks, special fold-back button, and I used a Windsor knot.
Thank you.
It was coming in the wake of the kind of kitchen sink drama, so you wanted to have something that was still backgammon and chemin de fer and good food and beautiful girls and marvellous cars and rather luxurious locations.
In the early days of the Bond, I mean, most of the English audience, certainly, and a lot of the American audience, I'm sure, were kind of trapped in their little humdrum lives, and suddenly to be transported to the Caribbean and the exotic beaches and the beautiful women, and, that was what they craved for, and it sort of filled a need, I think.
James Bond's world is very similar to our world, but it's this kind of parallel world. It's a little brighter, it's a little more intense. Every one of the women are more interesting, more exotic. It's not the world we live in.
In the early 60s, there were no women as sexy, heroes as exciting, or settings as extravagant as in the James Bond series. This was the specific intention of the producer Cubby Broccoli.